been said that my husband did not want to marry me. I never saw that. And it's the kind of tale that could ruin something precious. There could have been a time when the marriage might not have happened, but I'm sure it would have been my fault. For Abe, you see, he understood me better than anyone here on this earth. Why, he was the smartest. He was the bravest. He was everything to me. I know. I did not always act like I felt that way. But on my dead mother's soul, I swear it's so. Now, it's understandable that my life in the White House was cause to wrong me, for the South found me to be a traitor to my privileged life, and the North thought me to be a spendthrift, reckless in my purchases. Oh, so from the start, they pounced on me. Nevertheless, I enhanced the White House. I made it beautiful. The rich blues of the curtains, the wool rugs of green and gold, and the purple and silver dishes that gave our table a simple royalty. Why, surely the President of the United States deserved fine living quarters for his status. From jealousy or pure hatred, any woman who would have lived in the White House would have suffered much from the public. Constant stories in the paper about my spending, my clothing, my overindulgent love for my husband and children kept me awake at night, knowing that none of it was true. What does the public know of private moments? And what they do not know, they make it up. The constant stories in the paper, the constant telling and retelling forms of false truth, one that the public soon believes without question. Mrs. Lincoln has a fondness for aristocratic finery, merely for spectacle. French in style, oh my, but without any taste. The amount she is known to spend merely outweighs her ability to impress even provincial society. See? I can do no wrong according to the journalists. But were they there when Abe was elected? Ran all the way home saying, Mary, Mary, we have won. We are elected. Did they not know that we had done this wondrous thing together? We had won a presidency. But only Abe knew it, saw it, commented on it. He stood in the doorway and he twirled me around and around until I was almost breathless. Thank you, my beloved, for I could not have done this without the love of a wonderful woman. And he was right, but no one was to know it. So little is known about us. I bore this man 2 children in a boarding house without anyone to help me deliver, so that my Abe could be a lawyer, could stay out on the road. And even before he became President of the United States, I lost my first baby, Eddie, to consumption. The poor thing was so frail. His tiny hand grabbed around mine with barely the strength to squeeze my fingers. Before he closed his eyes for the last time, and he looked at me and he said, Ma, I shall be waiting for you and Pa. Now, would not any mother feel the pain of this? And when we were in the White House, I lost Willie to what they call typhoid. Many people were getting this disease from the sewers that spewed into the Potomac. He developed rose spots on his frail chest, and his breathing became laborious. He could no longer drink. I sat by his bed, and I put cool cloths on his fevered brow. And he said to me, Mama, I see Jesus, Mama. I see Jesus. And little Eddie is standing behind him. I see Jesus, Mama. And he raised himself up as if to show me. And then he fell back down on the pillow. At that time, I was like any other mother, like all mothers. Oh, me, as a first lady, it was a joke. It made them laugh, and it made them mean. And it was the women, the wives of the senators and House members that gossiped and talked about me. They even continued to do it after my poor husband died. Maybe I wasn't anyone special with causes and tea dates. My only crime was being a wife and mother like many other women. But I really had a few causes, other than my husband and children. So what did they want from me? Oh, but they certainly didn't mind. When I spoke to my husband about their husband's patronage jobs, oh, no. Then they'd smile, they'd kiss my hand, and they'd tell me how lovely I had made the White House. Oh, Mary, you have done such a wonderful job enhancing the White House. Why, those blue curtains with the gold trim just say White House all over them. Wherever did you get that fabric? The ones outside. Oh, they'd swarm. I could hear them out the window getting into their carriage. She must have spent a small fortune. Well, that's all she does, I hear, is spend, never satisfied with what she has. Oh, and the way she dresses and what she thinks are the latest French fashions is terrible. Well, I can't believe that she spends so much to look so horrid. And their laughter would float up to the window. And in a whisper, though I could still hear, and I hear she has fits of bouts of melancholy. If they only knew the love and compassion that Abe and I had for each other, if they could only see the letters of love that we wrote to each other, they might see me differently. Alas, that shall never be. One cannot choose how one wants to be seen. That is a power, not ours. There are more stories in the paper about me being a Southern spy, even though I was firmly behind my husband and the committee to preserving the Union. I even housed our troops in the East Room, ministering to the sick and the wounded and refusing to leave Washington when we were under the threat of invasion. Oh, but how I handled my husband's death, that was the next topic for discussion. We were so excited that day, trying to decide what to wear to go to the Ford Theater. Henry Rathbun was bringing his young fiancée, Clara Harris, Senator Harris's daughter. We were looking forward to meeting her and to seeing Laura Keene's comedy, Our American Cousin. Oh, we had heard so much about Laura Keene's acting, and Abe and I, we were thrilled to be together for such an event. We took our seats in the box, and we could look down on the stage. Now, Clara, she was using her opera glasses to see who was in attendance, pointing out that one's hat and that one's dress. Oh, she was so young and vivacious, like a shiny new coin. The war was over, and everybody was in such a fine mood, laughing throughout the production, when suddenly a shot rang out from our box. And a man jumped from our box onto the stage, and everyone thinking it was part of the production, they cheered. And suddenly my Amy was slumped over, and Henry Rathbun had been stabbed, and I started to scream and I didn't know what to do. A young doctor came into our box, and he tried to loosen Abe's collar, but there was of little use. The soldiers carried Abe across the street to the Peterson house. The surgeon who examined him said, and he would not make it through the night. I retired to the room next door while Vice President Johnson, his closest aides, and other cabinet members stood watch until Abe was pronounced dead at 7:22 the next morning. After Abe's death, little Tad faced up to his new situation in life better than I could or ever did. He went up to one of the White House servants and he said, "Pa's dead. I shall hardly believe that I'm never going to see him again. I'm going to have to take care of myself now. Pa's dead, and I'm only Tad Lincoln, like any other boy. I'm no longer a president's son. I shall have to be good so that I can see Pa and brothers Billy and Eddie in heaven." And Abe, dying without a will, Big Minnie talked that he didn't want to leave me anything for fear that I'd spend it on frivolous shopping. Truth was, there was very little to leave. And I was left to leave the White House poor with only 1/3 of his $85,000 estate. A pittance to live on in Chicago. Now that I was no longer the first lady, I was only left with what people thought of me. A foolish, silly, selfish woman. That is not me. It took them years to give me a pension, and I was forced to sell my things. My beautiful dresses. They were removed from the house to be remade for others, or to be sold at auction. Purple and gray iridescent. My favorite. The one I wore to entertain senators and House members. The one I wore to escort their wives into the parlor while the men retired to the library. Those dresses, they could now be seen on others. I decided to take the few things I had and go to Europe, where Tad could get a good education and not be distracted with questions about his crazy mother, which he would soon begin to hear. "Do you think I'm crazy, my son?" "Well, you're my mother, so there's little way to tell." And it was while Tad was in Europe that he picked up his tuberculosis, and I immediately booked a passage back to the United States. And he got weaker and weaker the closer we got to Chicago, where he too died. And once again, I lost another in my life. All that was left now was Robert. But with Robert, it was different. With Robert, I felt totally alone. Years before, when I didn't want him to go into the army, Abe said to me, "Many a poor mother, Mary, has had to make this choice, has to give up every son she had, and has lost them all." By that I knew I'd lost Robert. For he was raised by the army, not with a mother's love like my other boys have been. If he only had an idea of what his father had, if he only had an inkling, he would not have found me the burden he did. But Robert, he turned cold-hearted to me. And I was afraid he'd take my money, and I started sewing it into the hems of my dresses. The only consolation I had was through a spiritualist, where I could talk to Abe, and he gave me advice, and he helped me make decisions, and I could talk and laugh with my 3 babies, for it calmed me with solace. But how can sons see their mother alike? How can each son see his mother the same? For Robert? Robert found my conversations with the dead insane, and he had me committed to an asylum. He finally found a convenient way to rid himself of this inconvenient mother and seize control of my estate. I fought my own son for years as a foe, leaving me with a reputation for insanity. I secured my release in the courts, and for my own sanity, needed an ocean between us. I took the few things I had and my money, and I went off to reside in Europe, where I would no longer be seen as a president's wife. Quite the end for a first lady, isn't it? But that's how it is. Insane or not, that is little. For in the end, my Abe will be waiting for me with arms open wide. And once more, I'll be able to hug and kiss my 3 babies. And I have too long defended myself to the public. And now, I shall be at peace.